What did because GSP, you seem to already get under his skin, and obviously you're a guy who you do that. The first thing you said, you come out and you're like, shut the fuck up, because he's in the middle of saying something, which is just hilarious, and the crowd's going, immediately.
Yeah.
Well,
no, let's be honest. George had been talking for what, maybe 20 minutes.
Of course.
We all know that everybody in that arena, the fans, the UFC, even the journalists are bored out their minds. They're bored out there. George is a great fighter, and he's a sweet guy, and he's all this stuff. But an enthralling speaker, does he captivate an audience? Absolutely not. So it was up to me. Listen, I was late, so I had to deliver a little bit. I had to provide some entertainment. I kind of felt a little bit of pressure to do that. And I walked on, and he was saying something because I could hear him backstage. They were waiting for my moment for me to walk on. And he was waffling on some crap. And I was, that's just what I thought. I just thought, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? So that's what I said, Now,
when the cameras weren't rolling anymore, because you do the face-off and stuff, do you guys go completely opposite directions, or do you guys shoot the shit and do like media scrums?
I never saw him again.
That was it?
I never saw him. Yeah, I didn't see him again at all. Although I did just have an interaction with him just now. He was just on Ariel Helwani's show. And I went for a run before. Incidentally, the first run I've had since my surgery. I tried running, 7 days ago, a week ago, something like that. I did 7 minutes, and I was in agony, and then I limped around for 3 days. I just did a 3-mile run, and, it was good. I came in, iced my knee, all good, so I'm very happy about that. Anyway, I came in from my run, and I just, quickly scrolling social media as I'm recovering and sweating and drinking some water. And I see that the MMA I was going with Ariel Helwani and GSP, and he's on there live. So I clicked the link to see what he's saying. And he's talking about the press conference. He's saying, yeah, Michael, made me look good. Michael made me look, he was embarrassing himself. He was making me look good. So I tweeted at him. I said, it is impossible to look good when you're dressed like a supply teacher. Because that's what he looked like. He looked like a substitute teacher, supply teacher, or like, I don't know, some cheap-ass history teacher or something, So,
did he respond?
Yeah, no, he did respond. He said, once again, he is a fool. Da, 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 da.
He is a fool.
Shut up, George. He is a fool.
I am hurt and I am scared.
I mean, this is the thing. Here's my takeaway from that presser. Yeah, we talked a bit of crap and this and that, and we went back and forth. And George kept trying to embarrass me, saying, "Oh, are you okay, Michael? Are you still drunk now? Because you maybe you hit too many times in the head and all this crap." And I'm like, "Yeah, George, I had a few drinks last night. What's the big deal? I'm in Vegas. Hey, if you were man enough to fight anytime soon, then I wouldn't be drinking.
Yeah.
But you're not, are you? You need 6 months to get ready. I'll fight right now." That's
but also,
what a
fucking nerdy argument where you're like,
what a fucking nerdy argument.
You are drinking.
I'm having to justify myself. Hey, I'm 38 years old. Right? I've lived my life. I've got money in the bank. If I want to go and have a few fucking drinks in Vegas the night before, I'm entitled to. Everybody in Vegas is having a few drinks. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, that's what you said at one point during the press conference. You said,
"Nerd, get a grip."
You go. You said, "I've been drunk my whole career," which was just a hilarious comeback.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was. Yeah, that's. I said, "Yeah, George, shut up. I've been drunk my whole career." I said, "I'll go out on an all-night bender the night before and still beat you."
There was something that George kept on.
I had to. At that point, I had to own it. You know what I'm saying? Of
course.
I couldn't say, no, I wasn't drinking. I might have had a glass of wine with dinner, but that was it.
Yeah.
I'd sound like a pussy. You know what I mean? So I just had to own it and be like, yeah, so what?
Well, that's exactly it. Because like it's almost like when you get pulled over by the cops. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to act like that. He's not going to arrest you. It was a better thing because you're known as the fucking brash, British bad boy anyway. So who gives a shit? Like, yeah, I was drinking. So what?
Yeah, so what? It's not illegal. I'm not an alcoholic, and if I was, that's nothing to make fun of either. It's a problem. It's a sickness. It's an illness. Shame on you, George. But I'm not an alcoholic. I just went to Vegas, and there's an MMA award show on. I won an award. Guess what? Everybody at that award show was drunk. Yeah. So,
Except for the nerds like George St. Pierre.
You're a fucking nerd, George. George, you're a nice guy, but you're a nerd. You're a fucking nerd. You're a lizard, and you're a nerd, and everybody knows it. There's one thing that stood out to me over that press conference, though, is that one thing that he kept saying, and he kept saying it. He kept saying it in some interviews afterwards as well, and he kept saying, I feel like I'm the best version of myself. My friend told me, my coach told me, my trainer told me, I am the best version of myself. And I'm thinking, well, talk about weakness. Talk about, I don't need my coach to big me up and this and that. But he's there naming that his friend, his friend told him that I just think that shows a lot of weakness, that he's having to rely on outside opinion.
Mike, if you went based off of what I said to you, you would think that you're a golden god.
Yeah, well, exactly. Thank you very much. But, you form your own opinions of your own self-belief, of your own ability in training, on what you do and how you can perform. You don't need outside opinion to sway whether or not you should come back. And I'll be honest, I just thought that was very interesting. I thought that was very telling of his mindset. I also feel that shows a little bit of doubt and weakness, because why would that have such a big impact on his psyche and the willingness to come back?
I don't know.
So there's a little weakness there, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, look, I've never denied being a huge GSP fan. I think he's great. Obviously, undeniably a great fighter and good dude overall. I met him before, but
George is a great guy. George is a great guy. I hung out with him in Vegas 11 years ago. We did some training together. George is a fantastic guy. He's a nice guy. Yeah. I like George, and I hope after this that we can be friends. I really do, because I'm friendly with some of his camp, and they're all great guys. I've honestly got nothing against them. I walked in and caused a bit of a storm at the press conference. It made for good entertainment. We're gonna fight, so until then, he can kiss my ass. But after that, seriously, I would love to go and have dinner and have a few drinks and show George a good time. Show George what you're supposed to do in Vegas.
Well, here's the thing. Like, one of the things that stood out to me, what he kept on kind of bringing up, he kept on talking about fighter stock and this master plan that he has. And here's my theory on the master plan. And tell me if you think I'm on point with this, okay? I think George's plan, he doesn't want to say it because he doesn't want to commit to anything, because he'll be embarrassed if he loses. And we could talk about that in a minute, kind of, going forward, why, we think he's going to lose. Obviously you do, but why I do as well. But I think his game plan in the ideal world is he comes in, he defeats you, he drops to 170 pounds. He defeats Tyron Woodley. He drops to 155 pounds and defeats Conor McGregor, and then steals that, holy shit, I broke that record that Conor broke, that thing from him, because I think that's kind of what made George come back. It's almost like an ego thing where, and George is a very humble guy, but Conor came out and said, holy shit, I'm taking the sport to another level. And I think George is kind of questioning, can I bring it to an even bigger level?
I absolutely 100% agree. And he did an interview earlier, and I can kind of go a little deeper into that. And here's again why. Listen, I say I love George, I do, but here's another reason why I think there's, how do I put this, a little bit of a bitch inside George St. Pierre. A little bit of pussy in there, because he is picking me. And listen, this doesn't do me any favors to talk about this. It doesn't make me sound like bloody Superman, that's for sure. He's picking me because he thinks I'm an easy fight. He wouldn't be picking the 185 belt if Rocco was the champion, if Anderson was the champion, or if Yoel or Jacare, any of those guys were champion, he wouldn't pick them. He looks at me, he thinks he can beat me, excuse me. He thinks he can beat me. Reason being, we trained together 11 years ago. And he out-wrestled me. I was just a kickboxer back then, and he thinks I'm still that same guy. Yes, of course, he's not a moron. He expects me to have got better, but he still thinks he can expose that weakness, that apparent weakness that he thinks I have. And he alluded to this in another interview just recently. And then after he beats me, he's going to relinquish that title, and then he wants to fight Damian Maia for the belt, because he said he feels that Damian Maia is going to be the champion. Now notice, he doesn't want to fight Tyron Woodley. He doesn't want any part of that, because Tyron, his style would cancel out George St. Pierre's. Yeah. I haven't got the wrestling to cancel out George St. Pierre's wrestling. I've got the anti-wrestling to stop his takedown, but I'm not going to play the same game as George St. Pierre. And Tyron's probably, possibly a more powerful version of George St. Pierre, but with nowhere near as good jiu-jitsu or striking. But wrestling-wise, he's probably
way better ass,
strong.
Though.
Pardon me?
Way better ass.
Well, I'll leave those comments for you. Yeah. Big thighs, though. I'm more of a thigh man myself.
Yeah, he's got big old fucking big ass.
Big ass tree trunk legs. So what he wants to do is he wants to fight Damian Maia, because he thinks Damian Maia is going to beat Tyron Woodley. So he's going to beat me. Then he's going to beat Damian Maia, in his opinion, because he thinks Damian Maia is perfect, because he'll just stop Damian Maia's takedown, and he won't get submitted, and he'll beat him on the feet. So that means he's taking 2 belts. Then he'll say, come on, Conor, you fought at 170 before, or he'll go down to 155 because he said he can make that. But he'll probably say, come on, Conor, you fought at 170 before. Let's do the biggest pay-per-view of all time and do that. And then he beats Conor. And then he'll retire as a legend, as a god, as the guy bigger than Conor. Because you're right, there is a bit of ego there. So I think that's his super plan, and that's why he doesn't want to talk about it. That's why he didn't want to talk about it at the press conference. And I even said to him at the press conference, I said, come on, George, you got to tell these people what's your plan. That's the whole point of a press conference. You've been away for 4 years, so let's hear your plan, big shot. But he didn't want to talk about it. So anyway, that's what I think.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? You know, I'm excited about the fight. You still don't have a date, right? July 8th was the maybe date, but you got to clear some stuff with USADA.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So it's looking like July 8th. Dana's pushing for July 8th. He told me July 8th. July 8th for me would be a good date as well. I mean, I could fight in 2 months from now. But July 8th, yeah, that works. In fact, July 8th for me is great because that's give or take 4 months away. And what I'm going to do, my preparation for that, I'm going to give myself 2 camps. 2 camps. One camp where, because since my last fight, my knee was giving me a lot of trouble. So I haven't actually done much training since October. I've lifted weights and things like that, but I haven't really done jiu-jitsu or anything like that. So these next 2 months, I'll do a little, I'll brush up on my jiu-jitsu and try and improve that game. I'll brush up on my wrestling and improve that side. I will lift a lot of weights and focus on strength and conditioning and explosive power, and it will also focus on my diet extremely. And my plan is in 2 months' time, but still only training at a very mild pace.
Yeah.
Maybe once a day, maybe twice on the days where I'm lifting weights, but still the tempo very low, controlled, eating a good diet, looking after my body. And then 6 weeks out from the fight, I plan on being 200 pounds. Then I'll start my proper fight training, and my weight will already be low enough to where I already cut weight. So therefore, I can eat throughout my training camp and stay strong. See, one of the problems is that George may have, if we were fighting in 2 months, George is 185 pounds. George will be able to eat consistently throughout the training camp. He would recover from each and every training session, and he would go in there strong. Whereas I would be dieting, losing muscle, losing fat, but also losing muscle, losing weight, of course, and to get down to 200 pounds. So I'd go in there weaker than him, even though I'm the bigger guy. So this actual time frame is actually perfect for me.